Well, hello and welcome to training video number 5 of becoming a group leader here at Landing Place Church. In this video, we're going to help you set yourself up for a win when it comes to facilitating your first group meeting, and honestly, all the subsequent meetings as well. So there's some basic things that we can do as group leaders that will set us up to be a success from the very first meeting. And so we're going to discuss those practical things that we can do. We're going to discuss all the things that you can do for the first group, during that group, and then follow up. That's going to set you up for all the following groups as well. So before the first group, a good and thorough communication before the first meeting is really, really important. Here are some of the things you can do to make that first meeting a success. You want to start with emailing the location, time the group starts, that you can meet, and then also making sure they have all the arrangements that they need to know. Things like if there's childcare, where do they need to take their kids? Is it at the same place as the meeting or is it someplace else? These are important things to attach to the group. You also want to send another email the first day of group. You don't want to assume that everyone's going to read that first email because they probably won't. This will serve as a good reminder about the group. If it's a reminder to some people, it's the first time some people heard that information, so it's always helpful. In those emails, you want to include your phone number in case anyone gets lost or has last-minute questions. Most people do have some sort of a navigation tool nowadays, but what I have found is they're not always accurate. They don't always get you to the right destination. So you want to make sure if somebody's lost, they have a way of communicating with you so they can still find their way. Again, also finding out where they need to go to bring their kids is a huge thing you want to make sure they know. You want to arrange the chairs in the location in a circle if you're going to have a discussion. And if you're going to watch a video, you want to make sure you put the chairs away where everybody can view and have a clear view of the screen. No obstructed views is a good idea for that. However, when you do watch that video, also make sure that if you're going to finish the video and then have a discussion, that everybody can kind of turn and still see one another. Having clear line of sight with people in the group is really important. If you can't see everybody, it makes it a little harder to have a good conversation during the group. Name tags and refreshments, again, are always good ideas. Especially if this group is full of a bunch of brand new people. There's nothing wrong with having name tags, at least for the first couple of weeks. Maybe you have it for the duration of the group, that people can have so they can learn one another's names. It's really hard and awkward to get to know people if you don't know their names. Name tags makes that a lot easier. And then as I mentioned before, refreshments are always a great idea. You know, it's funny, I've learned that a cup of coffee or a glass of iced tea can make the most intimidated person who's a little shy come right out of their shell because they have that cup between them and the other person. I don't know what it is, but it actually helps make people feel a lot more welcomed and a lot more comfortable. So give them that opportunity to put that cup of coffee, that glass of iced tea or whatever between them and the person. It's going to make it a lot easier for everybody to communicate during the group. Also, when it comes to refreshments, you don't have to go extreme. Some cookies, pieces of fruit, things like that can work wonders. Just something for people to nibble on. Oftentimes, people won't even have it. It's just the idea that you provided it that makes it really comforting to people. And who knows, maybe they will take you up on it and enjoy those refreshments. During the first meeting, what's going to happen? Once all your new group members arrive, you have somewhere between 90 and 120 minutes with these people. What are you going to do with them in this group? That's a question people are wondering, and maybe even you as a group leader, you're wondering, what am I supposed to do? Here again are some very practical tips of things that you should do. Introductions and icebreakers. It's a good idea to have everybody in the group go around and introduce themselves. You can also have them do an icebreaker to get people talking more than just their names. Great icebreaker questions, things like this. How long have they attended the church? How many groups have they been in before? What are they most excited about for your group? These are the kind of questions that get people more comfortable, they get to know one another, and it just makes things a lot easier. You may want to encourage a group covenant. It's always a good idea to start the group with a covenant or an agreement. This is a document that basically states the facts and values of a group that you're going to abide by during this group's life. Starting with a covenant sets the expectations for the group participation. A good covenant covers issues that might arise in your group. And then you can add things to the covenant as things go along. A few things that you might want in there are things such as the location. Is it always going to be in the same place or is it going to change locations? The starting time of the group every week, what is that going to be? Childcare arrangements. the food expectations. And we're going to provide you with a sample of what this looks like so you can have this with your group as you get started. And you can build this together. Another great tip, staying on time. It's important that you strive to begin the group and end group consistently on time. Members are going to consistently show up late if they don't see that the starting time is a hard time to start. And if you aren't done in time at the end, if you have childcare going on, the childcare workers are going to be like, where are they? Like, we're waiting for them. It just makes things really difficult if you're not done on time. So here are some tips on how to make things manage where you start and end on time. You want to share the food responsibilities. Make it so you're not responsible for everything. So if some people bring the refreshments, that can help you with managing some time. Don't wait on everybody to arrive before you start. You're going to start the group at the same time. Rather, there's everybody there or only a few people there. That's going to be important that you're respecting everybody's time. I would say keep the first 20 minutes of your group meeting time a little informal so people can come in a little bit and then start the actual study part of it about 20 minutes in. That gives people a little time to be a little bit late. They don't feel weird, but you do get started with the informal time on time. Also, have a transition in mind at the group so you kind of know group's wrapping up. It's kind of the way of people knowing, okay, group is going to be coming to an end. My suggestion is that you make that kind of transition time that's leading towards the end be a time of prayer, a time where you're collecting prayer requests and you actually pray for those requests. That's a great way to kind of let people know, hey, group is wrapping up. Aim to end the meeting 15 minutes early. That way, if people do want to hang around a little bit after, talk a little bit, maybe enjoy some of those refreshments, if they didn't get a chance at the beginning, they can. So there's not that feeling of, hey, I got to go, it's 8 o'clock and we got to leave. Ending the group right at 8 o'clock makes it really awkward, or some people may have to get up and leave right away. So if you end at like 7:45 and the group's ending at 8, they got a little bit of time to mill around and hang out, not feel rushed to get out of there. And then be available after group, but keep some boundaries. It's okay to let people mill around for a while, but also be okay with saying, hey, it's been great having group. We're going to see you next week. So they know, hey, that it's time for the group to end and you want to get that transition to the end of the night. Prayer requests is always a great thing to happen during groups as well. Rather, you use those prayer requests as a transition from the end of the discussion to the end of the group or not. I would encourage you that you do have some time in your group time where you ask people what do they need prayer for, and then you make time to pray for those requests. And so during the first few weeks of the group, you are probably going to have to be the one who leads the prayer because you're the group leader. But eventually the hope is that you get some of the other people who are part of your group to join in and lead prayer for you. Now here's a tip. Never ask anyone to pray in the group without asking them beforehand if they're okay with praying in group. Remember, I said there are questions people are going to ask, and one of those questions is often, will I have to pray out loud? Some people are comfortable praying out loud, and that's fantastic, but there's a lot of people who aren't maybe there just yet. And so what you want to do is if you're going to ask somebody to pray in the group, you want to ask them either before group that week or maybe at least at the beginning of the night, hey, would you be willing to pray for the prayer requests at the end? And then at the end, when you say, hey, this person in the group is now going to lead the prayer, it makes it a lot more comfortable for everybody and it's not awkward. Just a pro tip for you about when it comes to prayer and you're not catching anybody by surprise. And then the last part is follow up after that first group meeting. Most life change happens and occurs between group meetings. It doesn't always happen in the group meeting. It'll happen between group meetings. That's kind of what usually happens for a lot of people. So it's important that you stay connected with your group members between meetings during the week. And you can utilize technology to make that easy, or you can go old school using some methods as well to stay connected. Here are a couple ideas of how you can stay connected with your group members between group meetings. We're going to provide you additional training how to use LPC Connect, as I mentioned before, but there's some tools inside of LPC Connect that are going to make it really easy for you to stay connected with your group members. You may want to provide everybody with a group roster, which includes everybody's names and a way to connect with them, contact them, phone numbers, things like that, so that way they can interact with one another between groups as well. You want to email out those prayer requests. When you get those prayer requests during that, it's a good idea to go and email those out so everybody has them so they can also be joining in prayer during the week, and then they can check in with one another how things are going with those prayer requests. You could create a Facebook group to communicate. You can use text messages or email. Any of those are great options as well. Handwritten notes go a long way to helping people feel connected. Since most of us use digital methods nowadays, handwritten notes or cards are something that's like really special to receive. And so if you want to write some of those out and drop them in the mail to people, sometimes that goes a long way to making people feel really connected in your group. Offline coffee meetings are another great way to do that. You might choose a member of your group and say, hey, I'd love to get together with you. Maybe we can grab coffee. I would encourage you, stay with somebody who's of the same gender as you, or if you're a group of mixed people, make sure if you get together, you're with people that, if you get 3 people together, make sure, that if there's 2 women and a man or 2 men and a woman, but just make sure that, you're kind of keeping things, on the up and up so that way nothing looks, inappropriate, whatever. If you're in a married group, don't ask the spouse of somebody else to go to coffee. Bad idea, not a good decision to make. Worship experience is another great place to make those connections. If people in your group are newer to the church, you might invite them to come sit with you during the worship experience on Sunday. You might say, hey, which service do you go to? The 9 or the 10:45? And then you can invite them to join you and sit together. It's a great time to have your group sit together and builds more community for your group. And it also helps build bonding as well. Also, kids' activities. If your group has members who have kids who have activities, if you can, it's a great opportunity to maybe attend a game and together as a group cheer on that kid. That makes such a difference to the group members and to their kids that they're feeling like they're valued and they're appreciated. So maybe that's something you want to do as well. And that's really what builds those bonds for life in your group. Now, we do need to address something that may be a little awkward, a little difficult, but it happens. What happens if nobody shows up for your group? It can be very disheartening if you prepare your group and you have no one show up. And sometimes it's even worse if only one person shows up. But here are a few factors to think about if nobody shows up for group, things to be thinking about. And they are this. Is this the right location? Consider your location. Is this the best place for the group? Was it hard for people to get there? Is this the right time? Again, depending on who you want in your group, is this the right time to get those people there? Is this the right night? It may just be changing the day of the week that you meet. Does your group meet consistent enough? I mean, if you're only meeting every other week or once a month, maybe that's not often enough for people and they kind of forget. So you need to really rethink those things as well. So it may be time to make some changes, and we're going to encourage you to talk to your coaches if you're not getting the attendance to your group that you're looking for. We want to help you to improve those things. But just a couple of factors that might come up in the event that you may not have people show up. Now, how do you prepare for all the subsequent group meetings? The best tip of having a successful group is to be consistent. Keep doing the things that you did to start the group, to grow the group, and in between groups. And your chances of having success go up really high. Good communication always leads to better group participation. Just be a great communicator, make sure people know everything going on, and you're going to get pretty good results from that. Now, honestly, running a group can feel like a lot of work at times. And it's true, getting started does take some effort. However, once your group is going, it's much easier to keep it going. And the good news is, as I said before, you're not on your own. You have a coach. You have other group leaders to look to for support. You have success coming your way. And we believe with the support we're going to provide and your hard efforts, we're going to have great success as you being a group leader here at Landing Place Church. Well, congratulations. You have now completed the video trainings to become a group leader here at Landing Place Church. Here are your next steps to take in this process of becoming a group leader. We're going to encourage you to go to our website, landingplacechurch.com. When you go to the landingplacechurch.com website, you're going to want to click on the place that says LPC Connect. When you click on LPC Connect, you're going to see where it says Group Leader Application. There's going to be a form there that's housed. When you go to that form, you're going to complete that application. Once you do, that application is going to be sent to one of us on the group's team. We're going to contact you to schedule that interview so we can get to know you a little bit more and help you prepare to promote and get your group going. So we're excited about this next step in the journey for you. We look forward to you joining our group's team. We can't wait to see you as a part of the team in the very near future. Thanks for tuning in and watching.